Today on What Went Wrong, we talk about the you go through when you're a YouTuber.
It's terrible. 5-year-olds out there are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I made over 40 feature films. But this guy's watched over 40,000 movies and reviewed them.
I seriously doubt that number is even remotely close to true. It's closer to like 4,000, actually. It is pretty high.
Well, I would like to welcome to set John McLain.
That's me.
Not the one that's going around Nakatomi Plaza.
I'm older than that guy. Yeah. Not older than the actor. I'm older than the character.
The character itself.
For the record, I don't mind people asking. No, I wasn't named after the guy. Yes, I think it's hilarious. Pretty sure I could take him in a fight, too.
Well, unfortunately, you didn't get to make it on our What Went Wrong the Chair episode because you were
No.
a major part of that film.
I was, too. I did a lot of that recording, and I'm watching the rough cut. That's how I figured out what to say, well, how much time I had to say what to say. And I started going on like the thing about the toaster oven, and I was like, you know what? I really like that because I came up with it while I was working. And it made me laugh. So I'm going to put that in there. He can use it, he can't use it, whatever. And I'm watching and I'm like, I had no idea I was talking for that goddamn long about it.
Why, just the other day I had an in-depth and rather heated political debate with my toaster oven. Turns out he's a racist. Who knew? Well, to be honest, the blender did try to tell me, but why would I believe the blender?
I just kept going and going, as I tend to do, as I'm probably doing right now. And then I just said, oh, I better stop so you can fit that in there. Or at least so you can cut it out.
For those of viewers who don't know, you have a YouTube channel called MovieMac Reviews.
It's always fun to see the rabbit at work. He's one of those film characters that can have literally any adventure the filmmakers want and it won't seem weird or out of place because it's the rabbit. That's what he'd do. Send him to space, time travel, but a dinosaur? Sure, why not?
And you review movies, but I remember when you first started out, you actually had these tangent videos.
Right. Well, that was a bit of a problem eventually. Is initially when I would talk about the movies initially, the old black and white days as they were known, I would spoil the entire movie start to finish until I came across a movie called Clown Camp Massacre that I couldn't bring myself to do it. I felt like if you knew that twist going in but not seeing what led up to that first, it could ruin it. Repeat viewings, turns out I'm good. But initial viewing, you can't know that going in. So I had to change it. But I was also winging it. Full on I would write down the characters' names, especially in like Chinese or Japanese movies, so I could make sure I did the name right. And then I would just go. And whatever happened, happened. There was one, my initial review of Schoolgirl Apocalypse, where a mosquito made it into the truck because I was driving semis cross country at the time. And it bit me. So I smacked it harder than I thought I did, and the microphone fell over, and that all made it into a tangent talk. But when I started doing the colored versions of it, oh, now we're segregating things. What I ended up doing was I would sort of script it. I'd take the phone has talk to text, and I would just say what I wanted to say about the movie, trying to keep it a bit more concise, not too many spoilers. And that kind of weeded out the tangents, because as I started going into it and figuring, okay, well, I can take this stuff and I can use it, so don't try to rein myself in, I found myself trying to do it. And it's just not the same. I mean, if I tried to write the toaster oven line, it wouldn't have happened. Yeah. That was just organic, as the hippies say.
And there's different personalities that'll be like that. Like I'm the one that needs to write. When we did Froggy Rants, and we still do them from time to time, but I would write the major part. I would make the points, the arguments, the debate aspects of it, and Brad would read it, and then I would put in the script Froggy Rants, and then Brad would just go off.
Yeah, you did that with the script you gave me.
Yeah,
there was like a certain thing needed to be said to keep, because Johanna wasn't there with me,
right?
And she had already recorded her stuff, so I kind of needed to stay in a parameter. And I think that if that hadn't been there, that 25-minute short would have been 2.5 hours long. And for the record, this tastes like a f***ing hate crime. Oh my God, it's terrible. I'm going to finish it, probably in this video. I don't like myself for it.
We all have our crosses to bear.
I know, I'm such a martyr.
You have a very unique channel because a lot of people go out there and review movies. You know, there's a lot of, but you find, and that's actually how we met. You know, you found Serial Rabbit 3, I think, on Netflix.
Right.
So first off, how do you find these things, and why? What drove you to start making?
Well, I'll answer the last part first because that's how things work these days. I believe it's a gypsy curse. It's actually a running gag that we used to have. That why do I bother watching these things? Because some people will watch these movies with me, not while I'm doing the drawings and all that, but just because I want to show it to them because I don't like them. I torture people with Pazookas, Island of Vomited Despair, when they come into my house, and they ask why. I don't know, cursed by gypsies, and I just kept going with it. But when it comes to the films I do like Serial Rabbit, I found that, I want to say it was 2011 when it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
I was flipping through and I found it, and I read, this is back when Netflix just had the little thumbnail. No preview, no little, how do you get the video not play, by the way, because it's annoying sometimes. But I found that and I read the thing, and I tried looking it up online because I figured it's the internet. It'll have something. No, it doesn't. But it does now, but it didn't then. It says, this sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard of a day of my life. I must watch it right now. And then I legitimately, because some people have questioned this, why do I say so many nice things about the movie? Are you friends with the filmmakers? Well, yeah, but that happened afterwards. I legitimately love that movie. It's legitimately one of my favorite films of all time. Not because it was made on like $300, not because the rabbit is a really cool character. It's because the whole thing comes together in a way that nobody in mainstream is ever going to bother trying to do, let alone be able to pull off. So I wanted to tell people about it. So I showed people about it. I might have told you this. Maybe I didn't. But I was showing it to some people, and they have a daughter who at the time was all of 3 years old. And the layout in my house, they can just kind of like run circles. Children will come over, just run circles around the house while we're watching Serial Rabbit 3. And she decides to stop and ask her mother for a drink because kids get thirsty, running laps around my house. At the exact moment she turns around is when Amanda gets pulled in the passenger side of that. And to the credit of whoever put that effect together, she didn't sleep for 4 days. It was like kismet. It came through at just the right time. But so I come across these movies, the ones that I like and the ones that I don't like. I don't enjoy the film Oversexed Drug Suckers from Mars, but I will make fun of it to no end. A woman she gets pregnant from a vacuum cleaner, and she sings karaoke into the business end of a dildo. You can't not make fun of that. But I want people to see these movies. Well, in person, I know like 3 people. On the internet, I know like 30. I figured if I could get word of these movies out there, hey, look at that, we actually came around to the point. If I can get the word out there, maybe they'll watch it and they'll enjoy it, or maybe they won't. There was the guy that I said all those nice things about Serial Rabbit 3, and then he watched it and said the exact opposite. Well, I mean, welcome to your opinion on it. But at least he watched it. I'm assuming he watched all of it anyway. And from there, I would branch out and find like the Japanese, the Chinese, the Korean. I didn't know Cambodia made movies, but they made one hell of a movie called Jailbreak. If you saw The Raid, the Indonesian film, basically that, but in a prison. And with more badasses. And I want people to see these movies because, especially in the Asian films, the South Asian films, even European films and stuff, the Ugandan films like Who Killed Captain Alex and Bad Black. How often do you see a trailer for one of those before the next big budget feature? How often do you see it on television? How often do you see it online? We don't know they're out there. You go to the store and you see some low budget, no nothing, nobody made a movie. And it's right next to the next feature starring Dwayne Johnson. Which one do you think people are going to pick up? They're not even going to give the other guy a shot. And nothing against Dwayne personally, but not a whole lot of his movies are enjoyable. He is, but they aren't. That other movie could have been a lot more entertaining. We love to rag on The Last Jedi because it's a steaming pile of dog shit. It's the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and yes, I'm including the holiday special and the Ewok spin-offs. I bet you forgot the Ewok spin-offs. Well, now you got reminded. But that movie made $1.2 or $1.3 billion. That doesn't mean it was any good.
Right.
Now you get a film like Hudson Hawk, which we both
Oh,
love.
I love that film.
And I've been finding, I just did a film, Ebola Rex is a film I just covered. And it actually started out kind of promising, and then it just kind of... But one of the characters, because, as happens in independent film, you get your friends and your friends of friends to make movies. And one of the guys is a film geek like me, and he has a room. And on the back, I saw Hudson Hawk. I was like, I know you. But that movie, what did it make when it came out?
Yeah, it
Next to
flopped.
nothing. It tanked at the box office. Yet, every single person I know who has seen that movie, which is almost all of them, loves it.
Yeah.
I've got people, we can quote the entire goddamn movie. I used to know every word to Swing It on a Star.
In high school, when that came out, I made one of my
old.
very, very first feature films. It was one called Her Name, and we actually put a scene in there where me and the other co-star were doing like a break-in, and we sang "Swing on a Star."
He kicks up at everything he hears.
It's a really good song, too. And not just the nostalgia of, hey, it's in that movie. It's like I looked it up one day and found out I thought it was Frank Sinatra. It's Bing Crosby. I was like, that's actually a pretty good song. I like it. I wish I could remember all the words to it.
Talking about, this was something that drove you and a platform that was available to you. And so much has changed in the last couple of years, probably, at least, 2 to 4 years with the platform. But YouTube, it gave this outlet for, everybody who wanted to make films or critique films. And here was this platform to get out there. And now I know a lot of people are drawn into this, maybe because of fame or whatever. They hear somebody like PewDiePie or some other bot.
Still don't know what he does.
I don't either. Somebody will get 2 million views or something, and they become these popular YouTube stars, and they're making a living off this stuff. But for most people, it's and then the strangest stuff will take off. Some kid, a little 2-year-old, opening up his Christmas presents, and that skyrockets, and he's now got his college tuition.
That's
paid
not
for.
hypothetical either. That's an actual thing.
It is. So if people are wanting to get into YouTube and do their own channel, what are some pitfalls that you have to watch out for? And you can mention fair use, but we'll do a specific episode on fair use.
Yeah. That still exists? Is that actually a thing, or is it just a word they throw at us to make us feel better?
But what are some things that reality versus expectations when going in and starting your own channel with YouTube? Was there any kind of expectation that you had when you started off with your YouTube channel that blew up in your face that you didn't realize? Or was it easier? Was it harder? What were some of the things that your expectations that didn't seem to come to life, or were there any?
I never wanted to make money off of it. I mean, you've seen the drawings, and if anybody bothers watching them, I'm closer to a Picasso than a Van Gogh, and honestly, I think if Picasso was making art today, people would look at that and go, how many shrooms did you take? Seriously, okay. But I wanted simply to talk about the movies, and I had hoped that through the free platforms of social media, Facebook and Instagram I think it was becoming a thing back then. It was 2015 is when this started. And Twitter and various other platforms, including YouTube, that I could get the message out there, this is a film that exists, and yay or nay, it's worth your time. But also, as happened with us, that I could let the filmmakers know I have seen it, and I like this, I didn't like that. If I really didn't like the movie, I got brutal about it. I usually didn't tell anybody I reviewed it, I put it up on the channel, and it'd be one of those videos that got 5 views. I'm good with that. When I really like the movie, or again with Oversexed Work Suckers from Mars, I didn't say, oh my god, it's steaming pile of dog shit. I probably implied that the writers and filmmakers did all of the drugs and then had sex with a vacuum cleaner for real, but I dare people to watch that movie because I want them to, because it'll be fun. It'll be fun to sit down and watch something like that. It would be fun to sit down and watch a movie that you actually end up enjoying. But maybe not for the reasons the filmmakers wanted you to, but you still enjoyed it, you still watched it. That's all I wanted to get out of it. I didn't want to become having 1 million views, 10 million subscribers, making $100,000 a year or whatever. I didn't want that. Because quite frankly, fame kind of disgusts me. I don't want people like, hey, I know who you are. Great, who are you? now this is unfair to me. This probably stems from my military days. It's like, I don't want you knowing things I don't know you know. But what ended up happening was I did get a lot of attention up front because I had all those other social media outlets, and then politics decided to show up and just tank all of that. It's not worth it anymore. But if somebody's going to start YouTube now, 15, 16 years after it first started itself, well, I think it was a running gag in the earliest days of this program, don't. You're not going to get it. I want to make something that's worth it. Like, I wouldn't get paid for doing what I do because it's not worth a paycheck. Including the time to watch the movie, it takes me, depending on how long the movie is, 4 hours. That's it. When I did a bowl of Rex, it took me 2 hours. Movie's only an hour and change anyway. It took me 2 hours. That's it. I'm not going to get paid for that. Come on now.
See, I'm a little bit on the other end of that because when this was before YouTube really even took off, and you had to be in. It's changed now, but there was a time when you could just, anybody could become a YouTube partner and monetize their videos. When
I vaguely remember
2007, 2008, you had to be invited to become one, and with our series War Dogs, we got invited to become a partner and get monetized and everything. And we had up to about 3 seasons, and we had that was right around the time the 2008 elections. So we had an in-show election with Froggy running for president.
That's a great idea.
And had these great, incredible rants, and that's where he really started with the rants. But we had our regular episodes too, which was just this ragtag team of Legos floating around and flying around in space. And we had 30 to 40,000 views per episode. We had a fan club in Glasgow. But then we went into the Innocent Saga, and we kind of put War Dogs on the back burner. And when the Innocent Saga was over, we had other things to do, and we just sort of drifted away. And I still to this day think that if we'd have stuck with War Dogs, which had an audience, grew an audience, and continued on an audience, that we could have been there. And these were things that we put a lot of time into. The actors, I could just have them, say the lines, 10 minutes, they're out the door. But I had to take the pictures of the Legos, animate them, put the mouths. Oh my God, lip syncing the mouths and everything. So there are some things out there that I think deserve that monetization and things like that.
If it's something like that, and I know that G4 TV used to be a thing, and then Nerdist was the channel that spun off from that. And I mentioned before the Smosh. I keep wanting to call them kids because they did start when they were kids, but hell, some of them are only a handful of years younger than I am now. They do skits. You do skits. You put together the show, The War Dogs, the guy, he does the Cyanide and Happiness, and they animate everything. If you do something that takes work, you have to make a set, you have to write a script, you have to do the costumes, you have to do the rehearsing. If it's just you sitting in front and go, this is what I think about the taste of the burgers in my right nostril, that's not work. That doesn't deserve a paycheck. But if you're, I can only imagine putting together a skit for any of these comedy skit channels. It probably takes at least the better part of a day or a week. But there are some, trying to stay on the topic of film review, there are some people, it's them sitting in front of a green screen or a wall of nerddom, something like this with probably less alcohol or more, I don't know. And they'll put out a video a week of whatever mainstream movie. And fine, your opinion on the film I might not agree with, but it's your opinion and it's your channel and you'll put whatever you want on there. But why the are you only making one video a week? And you get paid for it. Yeah, whatever you get paid, probably a livable income. What are you doing with the other days? Think about it. If I was just sitting in front of my wall of nerddom and I was just saying, yakety yak, here's what I think about the movie and here's what I didn't like, here's what I did like, including going to the theater or sitting in front of my television and watching the movie, it wouldn't even take me to 3 hours. I could talk about it. My videos are only 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long anyway, but if I extended it the way they do by ranting and raving and going over multiple different facets of the film multiple times, I could probably make them 8-10 minutes long, sure.
War Dogs, the original ones, it was like 2-minute episodes, 2.5-minute episodes. Yours are 2-3 minutes long, and YouTube doesn't like those because it can't put all the ads in them. So all these YouTubers know that there's that sweet spot of, like, I think maybe between 8 and 12 minutes long that they want their videos to be, because they go up in the algorithms and YouTube will promote them more. So now you've got some, like, you know, if you were making $50,000 a year doing your things, but they told you that they had to be 8 minutes long, it loses something, and it becomes padded very much.
Something that I look for in movies too is padding. There was the same people that made Ebola Rex made a film called Angry Asian Murder Hornets. They even did 5G Zombies. I haven't watched that one. I don't plan on it either. But the Angry Asian Murder Hornets is a 1 hour and 3 minute film with about 53 minutes of padding. And if they did do that, let's say I was making money on this stuff, and they said, okay, well, we changed the algorithm. They got to be 10 minutes long. I would just string 8 or 10 of them together, and I'd put a theme in there. I did the Mythica franchise, fantasy films. Kind of like, if you like Lord of the Rings, you'll probably like Mythica. If I talked about each one for 2 minutes, 10 minutes, right there, I would just string them together. But people are wanting to, it happens at CinemaSins now. They'll just start talking about the movie. It's like, guys, you had a thing here. You did. I'm not going to lie. It was smart in the beginning.
Loved them in the beginning.
But
A few years ago, I was like, I'm done.
I guess it just makes me an angry old man, but it's the commercialization. And now, in the beginning, it was just, here's a cat video, here's my baby spitting on me or whatever, and it was fun. Now YouTube is, you got to make money. Well, I would never make money even if I tried doing the thing that I do, and I piss way too many people off anyway. And now people are trying to make money off of it. They're not trying to make product. And now you've got NBC and CBS and CNN and every godforsaken late night show. I had no idea there were so many. They all have YouTube channels. How in the hell would, you know, Tommy Thompson, a 24-year-old skateboard enthusiast who has real skill, making videos of him doing, I can't name a single trick, but doing tricks, how is he going to compare to Ryan Reynolds or Dwayne Johnson having their YouTube channel? Nobody knows who Tommy is. We know who Dwayne and Ryan are, though.
Yeah.
And I do like their work. Ryan's my favorite actor in the entire world, next to Asami, whose last name I can't pronounce. But if they start a YouTube channel now, who's going to watch it? Sure, your friends, and your friends could tell friends of friends, and they could spread that way, but that's a slow burn wildfire that's going to take a very long time, and sooner or later somebody's going to piss on the embers, and then nothing's going to happen. If you were doing it for fun, like I do, yes, I want people to see the things, and I want them to learn about the movies that I found in the ass end of nowhere, but I don't care if I make money. If I did a review of a movie that you made, that whatever the next one is, and I said, hey, it's really good, it's really bad, it's somewhere in between, but that got people to go watch it. Like when Red Days came out, if me doing a review of it was getting people to go watch it to see for themselves, even if I said it was absolute steaming garbage, well, at least for me anyway, that's an enticement to go watch it. Maybe with a better tasting beverage, but that's fine. That's what I want. I don't care if people like my video. They kind of have to watch it to get the gist of it, but you don't have to like it. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to comment. You don't have to say a damn thing to me. Just go watch the movie and see for yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a good point to just kind of wrap this up on. Is we've said it before about filmmaking. You know, before you make a film, know why you're getting into it. If you're in it to make a movie, you got to make money. You got to make this kind of movie. If you just do, you just want to have it fun, make whatever you want, and that kind of a thing. Same thing would apply to YouTube. That if you want to go start a YouTube channel, it would be a YouTube channel. Know why you're getting into it. If you want to make money, don't don't get into it at this point. But if you want to make something that is a creative outlet for you, like your reviews, or for us for this show, then just make it the best you can with what you have, and understand what you're doing as you're going into it and what your motivations are, and you'll be happy. Just create something that you enjoy.